I just gotta be me. I just gotta do me at the fullest potential I possibly can. And this is where we landed. And here we are. And here we all are, guys. Welcome to the Witch's Magic Murder Mystery Podcast with Kara and Megan. We should start all the way over just so you can record that. There we go.
Here we go.
This
is the Witch's Magic Murder and Mystery Podcast
with Kara and Megan.
With Kara and Megan, straight out of Nicholasville, Kentucky. Y'all ain't seen nothing.
Yeah, we gotta have 10 seconds of silence. I'm not ready yet.
I can't do it.
We didn't get to record it all last week, so I miss you. So having 10 seconds of silence is hard. Okay, ready?
I can't look at you.
Dude, I can't even look at you right now.
I can't even look at you. Okay, ready, go. Was that just
Good.
seconds?
That was like 4 seconds, but it's fine.
I'm okay. It's
fine.
okay.
Right here. Hello.
Hey, guys.
Thank you guys for not hating us for not having a full up last week. I'm just telling you,
Life has been a lot here lately.
I don't want to act like my life is harder than everybody else's.
No, everybody's lives are a lot right now.
Yeah. You know, when people talk about first world problems, I always get annoyed because I'm like, look, problems are problems.
Problems are problems are problems are problems. And
yeah,
a problem's a
but,
problem.
Last week
problems.
sucked. Yeah.
We had some problems.
They kept telling us this big, huge ice storm was coming. Yeah, I mean, we had an ice storm, but it wasn't the apocalyptic situation they wanted us to believe.
It wasn't the run to the grocery ice storm.
No.
And then my kid potentially had a hernia.
Oh, that's right. See? That's how crappy I am. I'd already forgotten that part of it.
I would like...
Here.
What?
I don't know. What
Glitter.
No.
No, it's tissue paper.
We just opened the best gift from Nikki, one of our listeners. And we each got this. So if you're on the YouTube video, you can see it. But it's this beautiful wooden box that has like our...
Like handcrafted.
Yeah, initials on the top. And if you open it up, it's got our word for the year. If you've been listening for a while, you guys know that we had talk about New Year stuff. Yeah, and just so many cool little ritual things.
Currently in my pocket.
And I don't know. We recorded it to hopefully be able to post on Instagram so you guys can see the unboxing. But it's also just, you guys are so thoughtful. It's incredible.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And Nikki's shop is called Bewitched and Bespoke, which I think is fantastic too.
It is.
And she said that what she had sent us was some of her customers' favorite items. So if you like that kind of stuff, I'm sure you should check out Bewitched and Bespoke.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Megan.
I'm Kara.
This is the Witch's Magic Murder and Mystery Podcast.
Hey, y'all.
I forgot. I did it out of order. Usually
we do.
Usually podcast name, us. See? We're so rusty. So right now we're going to record the full episode.
Yep.
And hopefully release that as soon as I can. And then we're going to record a bunch of stuff today. It's going to be a lot, particularly if you're on the Patreon, a lot of content this week. So we hope you still like us.
Yes. Sorry, guys. Life happens. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, do we have anything? I've been doing this thing where I'm keeping a note. I've been doing this thing where I'm keeping a note.
Shout outs and stuff?
Yes. We do need to do Patreon shout outs, which it hit me yesterday. I was like, we haven't done those in a while. So we will do those maybe at the end of this episode.
Yes.
And then, I don't know if you guys heard, but they may have found Brandon Lawson.
The bird is the word.
Which...
Yeah, that's wild.
If that's a case that you're familiar with, it is one of these cases where this guy disappeared. Uh-huh. He was like on the phone. Now, there's a couple of cases actually where a kid is on the phone with somebody when he disappears. But this guy was like, his brother was out there looking for him. Uh-huh. And Brandon is like, I'm here. I can see you. Right. And the brother is like, I don't have any idea where you are. I don't see you. And it's just this whole thing. They can't even figure out they're in the right place. But Brandon's saying he sees them. Yeah. Anyway, and he just vanished. Mm-hmm. And they think they may have found him. It's weird because they found remains in the exact area where they had been searching. And I'm like, how did they miss this? Right.
Mm-hmm. And how did it take this long to uncover this?
But the family seems convinced. Like, they posted on their Facebook group, or it's a Facebook group or a Facebook page about it, that said, we're confident this is him. Which I also thought was strange.
Yeah.
All of it's strange.
Oh, it's so weird.
But I mean, maybe we should cover the Brandon Lawson case just
I think we should.
to see it through because it's really.
Maybe do a Patreon episode. Y'all want to vote on that?
Oh yeah, yeah. We got to put that in the Patreon for Kara's episode. And then another thing I was going to mention, just because it just happened, there were 3 guys who escaped from prison in Tennessee last night. Did you see that?
Yeah.
They climbed through an air vent, and they're in Tennessee, which is so I always think like, well, that's
on the lam.
they're practically here. They're probably right here.
They're right across the street from us.
I think they were
They're
last
gonna come in the
spotted in
coffee
West
shop.
Virginia.
They're going to come at the coffee
I
shop.
bet they don't.
You don't think they want coffee? They've been on the run. They're a little thirsty.
But you guys go look up, because I'm hoping to get this episode posted today or tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're probably still out there running around. You guys can Google it, take a look at them, then look outside.
Yeah, look out your
Make
window
sure they're not in your
constantly.
air vent, basically.
Report anything unusual.
All right.
Okay.
I guess that's all.
Megan,
What's up?
did you know that Marvin Gaye Sr. grew up in Nicholasville, Kentucky?
I did not know this.
He lived
Really?
on the very street I grew up on.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How would I not have known that?
I didn't know it either.
Okay. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is Marvin Gaye Jr.'s death.
Oh.
He was murdered by his father.
I didn't know that either.
Yep.
Is Marvin Gaye Jr. the one that sang?
Yeah.
He was murdered by his dad?
By his
I didn't
dad.
even know he was
Let's
murdered.
get it on.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's that guy, right? Let's get it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously we know Marvin Gaye was a singer-songwriter. Super famous in the 60s. He was top leading male vocalist of the Motown records, and he was one of the most influential rhythm and blues musicians of the 20th century.
I'm telling you, if you're not into Motown,
Oh my gosh.
you just should be. I forget how great
Get
it is. So my
into
mom
it.
was super into Motown. So it's like what I grew up on. And like I still know, I mean, just about every
yeah.
Diana Ross and the Supremes song.
Yes.
And Smokey Robinson.
Oh my gosh,
and-
yeah.
I mean, there's just so many of them. And
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
That I just love. And it came on at work the other day. Somebody had a Motown station going. And I was just like, God, this is so great.
Yeah.
It's the best music to just like
Just
clean your house.
Yeah.
to.
Anything really.
So, if you're not a million years old like me and you've never really dug into the Motown thing, just dive in.
Pause for a
It'd be great.
second, go play a couple songs, just come right back, and we'll take a deep dive into this. So, Reverend Marvin Gaye Sr. Was an American fundamentalist minister.
He was a minister and he murdered his son.
Yes, and
I have a lot of feelings.
he just was deep into it. So he grew up on a farm on Catnip Hill in Jessamine County, Kentucky.
I drive Catnip Hill when I go home from here quite often.
Yep. So, clearly he and his son had some issues. They didn't get along. He didn't agree with his son's secular lifestyle. So,
So I'll murder you
exactly.
because that's better.
So, Marvin Gaye Sr. grew up, like I said, in Jessamine County, moved to Lexington, grew up there. He was of 12 siblings. His dad was obviously abusive. I mean, that's, yeah.
But see, so many problems
Yes, yeah.
already.
So
You're an abusive father, but you have trouble with your son's secular living, and you're a minister, but I just don't. Of course, Marvin Gaye's over here like sexual healing. And he's like, just going to hell, so I'm going to kill you. I don't understand.
My son's having sexual relations. God condemn him. That's exactly what happened. Okay, so he entered the ministry in his late teens. He joined a Pentecostal church and became a pastor in Washington, D.C. And that's where he and his wife, Alberta Cooper, she was from North Carolina, decided to raise their family. They had 4 kids, Jeannie, Ziola, Marvin Jr., and Frankie. Megan's stomach's growling.
Okay, we had to pause for a second because girl. Here's the thing: I purposefully did not grab fast food on the way here because I was like, if I eat fast food on the way here, my
And now
stomach's
she's
gonna
starving
hate
to
me.
death.
Well, it would have been growling either way.
It would. One would have been a gurgle, the other's a growl.
The problem is we're just getting started, and this is where we already are. The stomach growling is a common problem here on the
this
podcast.
Is where it started, and this is where we are.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Okay. All right. Should I put something, like, how can I
don't know. I mean, I don't have a pillow.
I could get my jacket. Okay. Okay. So, of course, YouTube gets to see all that, but I'm going to have to edit it from the podcast.
Y'all love us so much.
I guess start back at the beginning of whatever paragraph you're on.
So, he and his wife decided to raise their 4 kids in Washington, D.C. He had a daughter, Jeannie, and a daughter, Ziola. I'm pretty sure I pronounced those right. Marvin Jr. and Frankie. So he left his church, his Pentecostal church, to form like a spinoff called the House of God. And yeah. So he kind of did it like, have you seen The Righteous Gemstones?
No. But I've been told.
Have to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm
bad about
season
TV
2.
in general.
I am too, but I am now into season 2 and I'm like crying laughing at
yeah, that's what I've heard. Like, it's just perfectly
It's
done.
like our humor.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, that's what
you mean perfect humor? Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, the only kind of humor that's acceptable. Praise be. Okay, so he spent most of his time just like traveling to different churches with his sermons.
I just think a person who decides to start his own branch of church, obviously there's problems.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. And he drug Marvin Jr. with him to sing gospel songs. So really, if he wants to blame anybody for his music career, it's himself. Okay.
That's great.
Okay, Marvin Gaye said that as a child and adolescent, he was afraid of Marvin Jr. He was afraid of his dad. He said he was a peculiar, tyrannical, powerful king. That was one of his quotes. As he got older, he just was super rebellious, as most like church kids are towards their parents that are high up in the church.
Well, yeah, I've had friends whose parents were, or whose dads were ministers.
Yep.
Wild child.
Yeah. So he was attending Cardozo High School. Is that how you say it? Cardozo?
I love that you're asking.
I don't know.
Are you asking me?
Megan, you know in Washington, D.C., there's that high school?
I went there, actually. That's where I graduated.
That's why I was confirming with you.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Yeah. So he started listening to doo-wop. He smoked cigarettes, and he would skip home to attend rock and roll concerts by Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson. So
see Sam Cooke in person.
Oh my gosh. Oh, man. That would be amazing. Yeah. So his dad obviously hated him for it. He said he was sinful, and he was just like, why are you going out to dances? And why are you trying out for sports? This isn't God's will.
Sports?
Yeah.
Are a problem?
Yeah. Don't do that.
I mean, it can be, I guess. But.
Yeah. So there are some rumors that float around that Gaye Sr. was a transvestite, and that behind closed doors he was very effeminate. So then, like, people in the neighborhood were like, well, he's a homosexual. Like, there's nothing to it. Like, he's a preacher and he's a homosexual. You know, people are ridiculous.
I know. Well, I mean, it's the whole thing of you wanting to give a reason for,
yes,
you know, why he has so much anger.
Yeah.
And that would be a reason,
Exactly.
I guess. But man, I don't know. That seems extreme.
So Marvin Jr. and his brother Frankie said that they constantly were defending their father and themselves because the kids in the neighborhood would be like, well, your dad's a homosexual.
Kids.
And then Bobby Taylor, the younger of Marvin's friends from DC, said, he was also a Motown star, said that this is like, these allegations are ridiculous. These allegations are as what is it? As false as fat-free cream cheese. That's what it is.
Is that what he said? Is that a direct quote? I'm pretty sure that's
what
it.
Marvin said.
Yeah.
But people were like, just take a look at this. Like, he was, in fact, like a womanizer. He was super abusive towards his wife and his family. Like, where, like, maybe he's a homosexual, but really, like, he's got a lot of issues.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know.
So
What's the point of
I know, exactly. Like,
speculating
why?
too
Yeah.
much?
In 56, Marvin Jr. left home, dropped out of school, enrolled in the United States Air Force. He was honorably discharged and joined the Marquis, which later joined Harvey Fuca, to become Harvey and the New Moonglows.
I love it. Like the new moon glows, or were the moon glows new? Can we discuss the semantics and the grammar of it?
The New Moonglows.
I love it. Moon glows.
Moonglows.
Yeah. I was going to say they don't make really great band names anymore, but that's not true. They still do.
No, they
21 Pilots. I mean,
Yeah.
Panic at the Disco.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Yeah.
New Kids on the Block.
Killers.
The Killers. Yeah.
Yeah. Kings of Leon.
So many good names.
Yeah.
Karen Megan.
The Karen Megan Show. It could be a million things. It's our OnlyFans page. In 61, before he released his first single, he changed his last name from Gay to Gaye because he was like, you know what? It's a little more professional. Also, like, people that worked with him were like, you know what? This is going to kind of cut ties from, like, your father's, like, crazy church life.
It also just hit me. They were probably just being jerks about the fact that their last name was Gay.
Exactly.
Because they're kids and they're just jerks. So they're like, oh, your last name's Gay, so you're gay. And just like,
oh.
I'm so glad that now, like, because when I was in school growing up, it was still like an insult to call somebody gay. And I know there's still some people that do it now, but like for the most part, that's over with. People aren't, terrified of being called gay. Oh, yeah. Because it's just not a big deal, anymore, which I'm happy at least that we've evolved to that point.
Yeah. And I feel like kids like Ella and Soph, like, they're so respectful about, like, not knowing whether people are or not. So they just, like, approach it with, like, the most tender like,
Ella
conversation. It's the
hilarious.
Sweetest. So Soph is the exact same way, too. And it's just, like, the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah. Ella referred to Kara's once partner. And I was like, do you mean her husband? She goes, well, I didn't want to assume. And I was like, that's great. And then she has a friend who goes by pronouns they, them. And for Ella, it's just so easy.
Yeah, same with Soph.
And I mean, I try to be respectful of it, and I still can't keep it.
Same.
Because I don't know. I don't care to call people whatever they want to be called. So I'm just like, all right, if you want to be they, them, I can do they, them. And then
if you want to be referred to as a churro,
extra thought into
I will.
it. Yeah, whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
But Ella, it doesn't even seem.
Same with Soph.
She's so good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it so much. Okay. So throughout his life, like, Marvin Jr. tried to have a relationship with his dad, even like throughout his fame and stuff. But his dad was just like, no, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing it. So they just kind of lost that love and feeling. That's just
Johnny on the spot. Love and feel like, oh my God, that's another great song. Forgot about it. Hilarious. So this also kills me. It's like you're mad at your son because you want to draw him. Christians who think they're going to shame people into being more Christian-like.
Oh God,
that makes me insane.
Like that. How is that God's love? Yeah. How is that showing them that we should love one another
at all,
regardless? Like, what's that verse? Like, pulling the mote from your own eye before you do it to another.
Again, the wrong person.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
listen, I had to read a lot about
it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Christians who use religion to divide. I can't.
No.
It makes me crazy.
Okay. So crazy. Okay.
No, I shouldn't say Christians. I should say any person who uses their religion to divide. Makes me crazy.
Or their opinion.
It's just so against the point. Like, you're defeating your point.
Exactly.
I automatically will not take you seriously. Okay, I'm going to try not be on a soapbox this whole time. This is so fun. I missed you last week.
I missed you so much. Grown-up talk. Needed. Okay, in 72, Marvin Jr. returned to Washington, D.C., where he grew up. He was honored with Marvin Gaye Day. It was a ceremony that they had a concert performance at the Kennedy Center. And it was first in 4 years following the collapse of the late duet partner, Tammy Terrell. Marvin said that the day was one of the first times where he had felt that he had made his father proud.
Oh.
Because he was, like, coming back home. He was, like, having this huge event in his honor, and all he wanted to do was
make his dad proud.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be hard as a son.
Yep. Also, he started dedicating several of his famous works to his dad. One is God is Love. Everybody Needs Love. I mean, it's just so sad. Needed Love, Joy. Mm-hmm. It's all dedicated to his dad. And his upbringing in the church. He often mentioned how he was influenced by his dad's sermons during his concert tours. And he even had his father go with him during a midnight special show where he allowed his dad to give him advice. So after Marvin Sr. told him that he thought he was a wonderful person, he hugged him.
Oh. So he did finally.
Well, this was on tour. It was on stage. So, I mean, we could speculate that it was genuine or for show. I don't know. Mm. But Marvin Sr. was also an alcoholic. He was having issues continuing to be a minister. He and his wife were starting to just grow apart. Obviously, he's psychotic. And then Marvin Jr. moved his parents to a mansion he bought for them in the West Adams district of LA in 1972. But then the marriage just continued to get worse.
Did you say that we think Marvin Sr.'s dad was abusive?
Yes.
Too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's just like he never had a good father role model.
Mm-hmm. So Marvin Gaye Jr. left London, England in 1981 after a European tour. He started doing drugs. He moved to Belgium on some of a friend's advice. He stayed there for a bit and kind of sobered up. And he decided to make new plans for a better music career because he was kind of in the slumps. He was just struggling with coming up with new songs. He wasn't as famous as he used to be at the time. So he's like, I've got to get better. So in 1982, he ended his run with at Motown, singing with CBS Records, Columbia Division. He released Sexual Healing, his Midnight Love album, in that October. So he became super popular.
Oh yeah, because that's his song.
Yeah. He won a pair of Grammy Awards in early 1983. But he was super hesitant to leave Belgium because he was listen, this is what got me sober. This is what, this is my safety.
Yeah.
This is where I'm able to write. This is where I'm able to do all this stuff. But all of a sudden his mom in November, needed an emergency surgery for treatment of bone cancer. So he was like, I've got to go home and be with my mom. So he got back into drugs and contemplated suicide often because he just was struggling mentally after going home, which is so sad. He did have a really successful tour promoting Midnight Love. But he was just I got to go home and I just have to stay with my mom and take care of her. So when he was staying with his mom, he found out that his dad had sold the family home in Washington without even telling the mom. And the poor mom's sitting here after all this health situation. So he was mad about that. The mom's mad about that. So he was just I need for you to talk to us about this.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. You need to come in here and tell us what's going on. So, the dad said that he had told one of the sisters that he's going to kill Marvin if Marvin touches him, because Marvin kept getting angry about the health situation and what was going on, the way he was treating his mom. So then during this whole process, he's trying to decide if he wants to do another album with CBS, and Jermaine Jackson, Dionne Warwick, Barry White had all been discussing doing this album with him. And, his Christmas of 1983, Marvin Jr. gave his father a handgun as a Christmas present for him to protect them from would-be killers. And friends said this is just Gaye Jr.'s, paranoid, psychotic state of mind on drugs.
I was gonna say,
some also said that it was his way of committing suicide without
I had the same thought. I was like, we know he was suicidal, and he knew his dad had made those threats. So,
yep. So, March 31st, 1984, so close to my day of birth, Marvin Sr. was arguing with the mom over a missing insurance policy. And then somehow, like, the argument went into Junior's bedroom, and he just was like, Dad, you've got to leave Mom alone. This is getting ridiculous. Like, I can't, this is insane. April 1st, they start arguing about it again. And Gay Jr. was just like, I need for you to come here. We're going to settle this once and for all. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous.
He's just trying to protect his mom.
Exactly. And he said to his dad, if you don't ever come in here, or if you don't ever come in here, don't ever come into my room again. Like, trying to get his dad to, like, come talk to the mom. He was like, if you don't come in here, like, don't ever come in my room again.
So either talk to me or don't ever come here again. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the dad came into the room, they were yelling at each other, cussing at each other, pushing each other. So it ended in Senior's bedroom, and they started kicking each other. The mom said she remembered her husband screaming, "He's kicking me. I don't have to take this." She said, that morning, my husband came walking through my bathroom door and asked me where he could find this insurance letter. I couldn't hear him very well, so Marvin asked him to come into the room where we were. My husband said no, he wouldn't come into the room. Marvin told him, if you don't come in now, don't you ever come into my room again. Then my husband came in the room. Marvin told him to get out and got up from the bed, walked over to my husband, pushed him back. Marvin pushed him a couple of times. My husband turned and walked back to his bedroom. Marvin followed him, yelling little cuss words at him. Marvin told his father, I'll beat you up. Both of them went into the father's room. I didn't see what happened in the bedroom. I heard my husband say, he's kicking me. I don't have to take that. When I entered the room, my husband was on the floor and Marvin was standing a short distance away. I took Marvin by the arm and led him back to the room. I sat him on the foot of the bed and Marvin told me, Mother, I'm going to get my things and get out of this house. Father hates me and I'm never coming back. I was standing about 8 feet away from Marvin when my husband came to the door of the bedroom with a pistol. My husband didn't say anything. He just pointed the gun at Marvin. I screamed, but it was very quick. He, my husband, shot and Marvin screamed. I tried to run. Marvin slid down to the floor after the first shot. So she ran to grab his arm, and she was just like this, just in this state of panic. Just freaking out.
You just watched your son, your husband, kill your child.
Yes. So then the dad shot him again, point blank range in the shoulder. His brother and sister-in-law, Irene, were next door and they heard the gunshot. So they rushed to the house. And when Irene got there, the sister-in-law, she saw Marvin's mom screaming for help, saying, he shot my son. The brother ran upstairs and he just saw him just like gasping for his last breaths. So the sister-in-law called 911. They got there. They saw Marvin Sr. just sitting on the front porch. They said, we're not coming into the house to help your son until you show us the gun. So he tossed the gun onto the front yard. They arrested him. But by the time the paramedics got him to the hospital, he was pronounced dead on arrival. He died the day before his 45th birthday. So 4 days later, April 5th, he was given a star-studded funeral. There were 10,000 people there. Motown colleagues, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Motown CEO Berry Gordy. He was also Gaye's brother-in-law at one point. Marvin Gaye Jr.'s 2 ex-wives, and their kids. So they had just like this funeral for hours, and then he was immediately cremated afterwards, and they put his ashes in the Pacific Ocean. So after the funeral, the wife filed for divorce after 47 years of marriage. And when the dad was asked in jail if he loved his son, he said, well, let's just say that I didn't dislike him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
was he like this with his other sons? Do we know?
It said that he was abusive towards him and his siblings. So they only had 4 of them, but the dad was one of 12. So I don't.
Well, and Marvin
And he
Jr. is the one who became like the big star.
The star,
so
yeah.
it was much more of a.
That's kind of like a Michael Jackson situation.
Mm-hmm.
So the dad was charged with first-degree murder, but they dropped the charges when they medically examined Marvin Sr. and found out that he had a brain tumor. So they gave him 5 years probation. He pled no contest to the voluntary manslaughter. During the sentencing, he just said to the court he wished he didn't kill his son and just was like tearing up. He said, but he did fear for his safety, so that's why he did it. So the wife went to live at their daughter Janie's house, and he was sent to a rest home for the remainder of his life, and he died of pneumonia in California, October 10th, 1998, just 9 days after turning 84.
I'm curious about the brain tumor, although it seems like he was pretty awful for a very
multiple
long time.
reasons.
But I do know someone who had a brain tumor, and because of it was
it completely changes
huge.
Them. Yeah.
Yes. And because of where it was in her brain, it really did turn her into a different person, to the point that people were like,
what is happening?
But it happened gradually as the tumor grew, right?
Yep.
And so it wasn't until she had some sort of, I think she couldn't keep her balance or something. Yeah. Something that actually sent them to the hospital, like, this is not normal. And then they figured out she had this brain tumor, and now she's back to herself again. But it's like, but I don't know. Like, would he have murdered him?
Right.
I don't know.
But Marvin Jr., knowing how abusive he was, just handed him that gun.
It's all sad.
It's so sad.
And I wonder with Marvin Sr., like where he didn't have a good relationship with his dad, I have this working theory that that produces men who, like, they feel in competition with their sons.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe that's a thing that happens as far as men feeling in competition with their sons. I don't really understand the male brain very much.
Instead of living vicariously through them, they're
Right.
trying to outdo
or just
them.
being proud of them. Instead, you feel like, God, why didn't I have this or that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, if you got a bad dad,
Shoo.
male or female, you got a bad parent.
Yeah, if you have a bad
It's hard.
legal guardian.
Man, that is so sad.
I know.
For a million different reasons.
I didn't know all of those details.
No.
I knew
and
he was
hated for
murdered.
his mom.
Yep.
Just awful.
I know. And now to this day, like, his music is still so popular.
I know. That's another thing. Like, Marvin Gaye's name. Like, there's some Motown people that you might know the song, but you wouldn't remember the name of the person that sang it,
Oh, yeah. But
yeah, Marvin Gaye.
As soon as you hear Marvin Gaye, you're like, let's get it on.
Yeah. I hate it.
Well,
thanks for telling me. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And he grew up here.
Seems like I
in
should have
Nicholasville.
known he was murdered. Yeah. But I didn't.
No.
Well,
let's have a Marvin Gaye day.
It's a good story. We can totally jam to some Marvin Gaye anytime.
We should.
Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening.
Well, I've got you here. Let's do some Patreon shout outs.
Shout outs.
So
the names that we're so good at pronouncing.
These are people who have joined at the Body of a Goddess level and the Janet's level, which is our newest tier in Patreon. Janet. Queen of the Witches.
I love her.
Okay. There's a few names in here that we're going to definitely get wrong.
Oh.
I'll let you take that first one, though.
Is it Corinne? Lally?
That's probably it.
Yeah.
That's definitely not how I was going to pronounce it. But now that you've said it, that's definitely it.
Yeah.
Cole Ryan Strub.
Ashley McClure.
Max Morin.
Jenny Baker.
Paula Murray.
Krista McQuillum.
You got both of the confusing ones for me. Katrina Majors.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, so thank you all
Thanks
for joining. We really appreciate having you there. And like I said, there's some stuff, if you haven't checked it out yet, there's some stuff on the Patreon to look into.
Yeah.
And then Kara's going to be posting what her options are so you guys can vote on the next Patreon episode. Okay. We love you
so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So much.